The Ngozi Cadmus Show presents the bridge between faith, entrepreneurship, and leadership. My name is Ngozi Cadmus, and I'm a mental health and leadership expert. I represent the average woman and equip women of faith to walk in their divine calling, master their thoughts, and love themselves so that they can level up spiritually, mentally, and financially. There is no such thing as motivation, right? That's a big, bold statement I'm making, but I stand 10 toes down. I've said this for a very long time, and the people that I've talked about, unless we're in an echo chamber, seem to understand what I mean and actually agree with it. But let me start off with a definition of what motivation is. Motivation is why a person acts or behaves in a particular way. It also drives people's willingness and desire to do something. Another word is a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. So when people consider motivation, most of the time it's like, I just don't feel motivated, right? We say I feel. We don't say I think motivated or I've decided to be motivated. We attach it to a feeling. We attach it to this sense of like, you wake up one day and it's like, oh my God, this earnest desire. Because motivation comes from the word derived from motive, and that's desire. You know, your desire to do something. So essentially, you know, what is your desire to do? So because it's connected to feelings a lot, and most people, when they do talk about being motivated, sometimes it is very feeling orientated. And we know feelings are fleeting. The Bible says feelings are fleeting, right? So I came to the understanding a while ago that motivation does not exist in our feelings. Motivation isn't a feeling. Motivation is a decision. It's an intentional act which might incur feelings. So sometimes you might do something because you have to do it, and then incurs enthusiasm. You then become enthusiastic. You then become to like it. You know, for example, gym. This is not my testimony. But for example, gym. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to go to gym. I don't like it," you know. But then they do because they've got a goal. Then they go and then they love it. Oh my God, it makes them happy. You know, all of the endorphins are flowing. Yeah. So enthusiasm has come as a result of them making a decision to be consistent or to be disciplined. The thing about motivation and why I believe it doesn't exist, is the fact that you'll be waiting forever. You'll be waiting for that feeling to come upon you. And it may come upon you way after the thing that you should have done, right? It may come before, it may come upon you when God is like, mate, yeah, I never did that. I had to choose somebody else to do that thing. It may never come upon you, essentially. Like waiting for the feeling to go gym is never going to come upon me. You know, I waited for that feeling for a very long time. It never came. So I had to make a decision that, do I want to remain, you know, unfit and have a fupa that people think I'm pregnant? Or do I want to reduce the belly and, you know, have more stamina and be fit? I want the latter. Yeah, I want that. I just wish I could do it without the gym. So, or do it without exercise, because gym, exercise, whatever, same thing to me. Without something that I have to sweat, I would rather not do. So essentially, you have to develop habits. So one of the things that I used to tell people, because, you know, for most people that know me, like know me, because you guys are getting to know me. But for those people that know me, like my friends and my family, they know that, you know, for a very long time, I've, you know, done multiple things. So, you know, working, studying. And for most people, it's hard. That's why a lot of people, you study then work. Or you work and you don't study, right? Then there are people that study and work. And it takes a lot of discipline to do that, because there is no motivation when you have a whole 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 8 to 4, whatever your shift pattern is, to come home, to cook, to clean, to do all the things you've got to do, and then to sit down to do work. Who's got motivation for that? I would rather sit down and just watch TV and Netflix and chill by myself. You know what I mean? Or Netflix and chill with my husband. Who wants to come home and put their laptop or come home to read how many X articles, right? That's why a lot of y'all leave it to the last minute. Procrastination, Auntie Emmy talking about you. So motivation does not exist, because essentially what you have to do is you've got to make a decision to change. You've got to make a decision to implement habits that don't please you necessarily, don't make you feel good, but are necessary for your future selves, that are necessary for the goal, right? So if I want to complete right now I'm doing my doctorate, I have to consistently read. Now I would rather not, because I would rather do other things. Because sometimes what I'm reading is difficult or superfluous or just hard. Like all these big words that I've got to read, I'm like, got to use a thesaurus. I literally got to sometimes use a dictionary as I'm reading some of these articles, because they're using words in such a way that it's like, why can't you just speak plain English? And then it's easy to be distracted in those moments because your brain is like, this is boring. So what I then do is, because I have habitually committed X amount of time for the last 10 years, nearly every single day, to a particular task, which is my studies, I then enjoy not necessarily what I'm always studying, but the process of it, because there's something I get out of, though I'm tired, I come home, I do what I have to do, and I do X amount of time, and after that, it feels good. It's like, wow, because I know that each day it will compound and it will lead to me completing my assignment, me completing my doctorate, me completing my master's, me completing whatever it is that your goal is. So it's not about motivation. I don't feel like studying. It's never a feeling. I study because I need to, and I need to create habits in order to fulfill the study, right? Making sense? So essentially, you've got to decide today, whatever it is that you have been putting off, whatever it is that you have been procrastinating on, waiting for motivation, praying. Look, you're praying for motivation, right? Like, you're like, God, give me the desire. And God is like, your desire should be to do what you've been called to do. And part of being a successful person, part of being a fearless and bold and courageous woman of the Lord, is sometimes we do things that we don't always like to do. I can't stand admin, but I gotta do admin. I gotta do it, so I do it, right? That's just life. That's adulting. Adult now be scam. Adult now be scam. I don't know if that's the song that went viral, but that's my version of, mate, who knew about adulting? The point is, when you become an adult, when you become a fully functioning adult, you've got to create habits that contain unfavorable tasks, because you know that essentially it will lead you down the right path. I don't think I would ever love gym exercise, but I don't hate it anymore. And I think that's good enough. I'll remain consistent, because I know that the goal to have a six-pack, yes, is important to my husband. It's important for me to feel comfortable in my clothes and not to be, getting congratulated every time I wear a dress. So there is no such thing as motivation, because motivation is not a feeling. It is an intentional decision to move towards your desire, to move towards your goal. If you have a goal in mind, there are going to be things that you enjoy that takes you to that goal, and there's going to be things, sis, that you may not enjoy, because that's just life. But you have to do it, because if you don't do that, you then are going away from your goal, right? If I don't exercise, I eat, it sticks. So I'm going away from the goal of a flat stomach, and it eventually will get harder for me when I want to now commit to the process of flattening my stomach. I'll be like, oh my gosh, what happened? It went from this to this. Yeah, it'll be more resistant essentially. The longer you leave something, the more resistant to changing it will become, right? I'm trying to think of an example. We've all at times like, I can't bother to wash that plate. Have you ever done that, right? Because I'm the queen of that. Like, I don't wash after I eat. My husband loves to do that, but I'm like, I like to wash it all together. Let's wash it once rather than washing after you eat all the time, right? But sometimes you can literally start in the morning with a clean sink. By the evening, you're like, why is it all piled up? And you're like, if only I washed after I ate, it would either be very reduced or none there at all. So then you have to spend another 20-30 minutes washing the entire plates, right? So the job that might have been quite easy doing it one at a time, literally 2 to 4 minutes, ends up being a whole 20-30 minutes because it has piled up. So that is what happens when you wait for motivation, when you wait for the feeling. So stop waiting and make an intentional act. You thought I was going to say stop waiting, start doing. No, that line has been used up. Stop waiting and start acting. Hey, no. Make an intentional decision. Start with your intention. First episode was about thoughts. Oh no, sorry, my bad. That was a tutorial I did for my level up mentorship. When you're creating a lot of content, it's easy to forget. But that will be another topic. I'm going to talk about thoughts and mastery of thoughts, and how do we, like, if you're trying to be successful, you have to master your thoughts. Yeah, you have to master them. But back to, this is where you're going to see the real me, and I do forget things. And I'm really thinking hard, like, what is the topic today? What is the topic? It literally has just popped out of my head. I was motivation. That's it. There we go. We've got it. Motivation. You see, I was motivated to talk about motivation. So I really do believe that there's no such thing as motivation. You can go to an amazing conference, right? And that's one of the reasons why, don't hate me for this, if any motivational speaker that I ever see and encounter, this is not you. I've never been a fan of motivational speakers because I feel like a lot of the words that they say are nice sound bites, and they make people feel good. They make people feel like, yeah, and then nothing happens. Now, I don't think it's the motivational speaker's fault. So when I say that, it's more to do with, again, the idea of motivation. I just feel is a supernova. I feel like it does exist, but as I said, it just shouldn't be. It's not a feeling. Waiting for this kind of exhilarated, I'm going to get up today and for 30 minutes I'm going to pray. This is even let's go back to the basics, yeah? When I first got saved, yes, you want to pray and you want to draw close to God, but I've been saved now I'm not good at maths, since I was 16 and I'm 31, so you do the maths, right? I've been saved for that length of time, and there has been times where I haven't read the Bible for maybe a week or couple of weeks, right? Because there was no motivation, but it's habitual. It's habitual, and then once it gets habitual, I'm at a point where not seeking God and not reading the Bible is sickening. You feel icky and you feel uncomfortable. So if that feeling makes me go, nah, the next day, bro, I'm going into the Word. I am going into the Word and I will read it. To the point that I'm saying that there are moments in time where you do get a burst of energy and you're like, I'm going to do this thing. But watch you, believe me, that burst of energy will fizzle out. Some people, it's 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. Someone like me, it can last years. But when it fizzles out and you don't have discipline, you will stop what you're doing. You will stop it. You become inconsistent. That's why you see people consistent. Then you ask them, how's it going? Yeah, I ain't done that for a while, You're like, what? Because it didn't become a discipline. It didn't become a habit. It didn't become a lifestyle. there is no such thing as motivation. Oh my God, I just realized I did not introduce myself. You see, I'm learning. My second episode, I forgot to say, hello, I'm Ngozi Cadmus. And this is the Ngozi Cadmus podcast. I am your host, Ngozi. And we are going to be talking about motivation, because there is no such thing as motivation. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. And for my friends and family, I'm going to go, you did really well. Oh my God, love you. And I shall see you in the next episode. Bye. Ooh, what an amazing show. If I may say so myself. Well, thank you for listening to the Ngozi Cadmus Show podcast. So, for all of you women of faith and all of you women who are listening week after week and resonate with what I'm talking about, feel lost, feel uncertain, know they're called for something greater, but they're currently stuck in what is comfortable. They're stuck in the familiar. And you honestly want to get out of that. You want to be all that God has created you to be. Sis, I got you covered. Yeah? I've got an amazing mentorship that I provide to women of faith like yourself to help them level up, essentially equip them with the skills that they need to fulfill their assignment on earth and to shift their mindset, have a complete metanoia, have a complete transformation. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, click the link on the website and follow the instructions, and I can't wait to see you in the community. So like, share, subscribe. That's YouTube. But for the podcast lovers, download it, share it, tweet it, review it, all of that good stuff, and I shall see you in the next podcast.